Hi, very good morning. Very good morning. This is once again Francisco Mateo. In this occasion, I am presenting my final project, which is about selecting one of out of many topics. The one I have selected is uh, answering this question: what are the advantages and disadvantages of public transportation? What possible solutions, I would suggest to this matter? Well, I'm going to start by introducing the topic, since transportation is a social factor of development. Yes, we all know that transportation is a social factor of development since it is a source of movement, of transporting, moving good alike people from a part to another. We all know that it has a social functionality that integrates market as well as it is a very important part of the economy. Since the large group of means of transportation refers to mobility, should I then analyze the decisions of people to use transportation? Uh, Many are the reasons for people to use transportation, out of which we are going to be trying to cover some. People use transportation, it doesn't matter whether rational or irrational, conscious or instinctively. It all depends in the different roles that people have within the transportation system. Of course, this motivation will absolutely determine the degree of satisfaction when using a specific means of transportation. In this regard, we must consider that depending on the area of circulation, a city, urban area, or even a region, then who uses a transportation should see it from different perspectives. Let's just simplify this. Whether the public transportation has its advantages or disadvantages, we have to see it through the perspective of the users, since the reasons are many why users use public transportation. Now, the question which I must answer to this presentation are: what are the advantages, some advantages or disadvantages of public transportation? In my introduction, I have, of course, established uh, possible reasons, considering even the type of transportation in this regard, the type of transportation that I'm talking about. Those are variants which are be to consider. Well, I talk all right in either case, advantage or disadvantages. I think it is fundamental to see the variates in each case. For example, the frequency of the users. I mean, how frequent a user uses the public transportation. The type of transportation, let's say train, because you're talking about public, train, taxi, or bus. And of course, it also depends on the flow, how good the flow of the system is. Also, the system and infrastructure in question regarding transportation. Yeah, also some factors to be considered are among the system, the infrastructure in which the public transportation takes place. Other factors or variants we can say are, of course, the fees, the cost of fuel. In each case, in both cases, the cost of maintenance, the cost of the fuel used, the cost of the human involved in this activity for much will infer in the satisfaction or advantage or disadvantage of determined public transportation. Well, in general, advantages are: public transportation, of course, is less expensive than having a private transportation, of course. Now, this is proportionally to the functionality. Of course, if it works, if it answers my need to use the public transportation, then I'm going to find it is advantageous. So, depending on whether the conditions are given, then that will push people, user, to use the public transportation, resulting it as an advantage to the users. Now, in the other hand, some disadvantages are inherent to the type of transportation. I mean that some disadvantages, of course, are going to be seen since the amount of people using this type of transportation, of course, is higher than those. I mean, I don't want to compare it. It's not that I have to compare it, but, there are some inherent issues since too many people are using it. And of course, functionality, maintaining a system, controlling the system so that it satisfies the many guests, of course, there are some problems there. There are some problems there, so which are considered disadvantages. When talking about transportation, we can see that in this extent, to the extent of the usage of the people, then of course it will take longer to wait. The wait is longer since many people are using it. Other disadvantages can be the low quality of the maintenance of the units used in the public infrastructure. That can be another disadvantage. An example of disadvantage or advantage is the pattern of flow. As I said before, how good the flow is in the infrastructure of the transportation, how long it takes between unit and unit to wait. I mean, I want to say that the first unit, 15 minutes passes by, and then the second unit within 10 or 15 minutes more will pass by. So it's a great advantage when the system is established like this. Nevertheless, if it doesn't work, of course, if a transportation system is not well structured, of course, then it's going to be a disadvantage. So transportation has been a key factor for the development. Yes, public transportation for sure has been a key factor of the development of many communities, especially in urban areas, which hand to hand with the public transportation have become, transportation has become a need to many users who, despite the many barriers considered public transportation, yes, they have found an energizing way to counterbatter the high price of having in any way one's own transportation. Thus, it has become part of the everyday working way for many. Public transportation, yes, it is an inherent part of the everyday working way of many. So public transportation doesn't matter whether advantages or disadvantages. It plays its roles. Of course, it can be better. There's always space to make things better. As a part of the conclusion, I would say that it takes time. It takes time to organize any system so that it works appropriately. It takes effort. It takes sacrifice. It takes economic factors. This is my presentation about the advantages of disadvantages. I want to highlight that considering such topic, which is transportation, I work in a touristic area here in Higüey, and I can every day see how important transportation is for goods, for transporting goods, and also the workers from the working place back to their homes. It is fundamental to keep those hotels going on. In tourism, we can see that transportation is part of the distribution of the product of tourism. Without transportation, I mean, there's no way we can do it. Though the transportation used by most of the tourists, of course, it is private, but it also, in some ways, unfair. Here is my presentation, my reference over here. I hope you have liked it. I hope I have fulfilled your expectations. Thank you very much.